What if I told you that everything standing between you and the life you want isn't real? The barriers, the doubts, the fears, they only exist in your mind. Most people live trapped by their own thoughts. They tell themselves, I can't do this. I'm not ready. What if I fail? For most people, these illusions are as powerful as physical walls. They live their entire lives never daring to push beyond them, convinced that the obstacles they face are immovable. But are they? Have you ever stopped to question whether the limitations in your mind are real, or if they are simply stories you've repeated to yourself for so long that they feel like reality? If this resonates with you, watch the full video for 5 ways to change this mindset, and subscribe to Stay Stoic for more mental growth. At some point in life, everyone experiences self-doubt. The fear of failing, the fear of looking foolish, the fear of being judged. These emotions become mental shackles. They keep people small, making them believe they are incapable of achieving the things they desire. And so instead of taking action, they talk themselves out of their own potential. But what if you flipped the script? What if instead of seeing obstacles as threats, you saw them as invitations? What if every time fear whispered, "You can't," you answered, "Watch me"? Because here's the truth. The way you think about obstacles determines whether you stay stuck or rise beyond your limits. Every person who has ever achieved greatness faced adversity. Every major transformation in history was born out of difficulty. The difference between those who rise and those who crumble is not talent, not luck, not intelligence, it's perspective. They did not see obstacles as something to avoid. They saw them as necessary. They understood that struggle is the proving ground of greatness. That hardship is not an interruption to success, but a prerequisite for it. They saw resistance as a sharpening tool, failure as feedback, and difficulty as the gateway to mastery. The Stoics lived by one core belief: obstacles are the way. This idea is not just a theory, it is a battle-tested truth. Time and time again, history has shown that those who lean into struggle rather than run from it are the ones who emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Most people live believing that happiness comes from comfort, that if they could just remove stress, struggle, and hardship, they would finally feel fulfilled. But history and philosophy tell us a different story. Every single great achievement in human history was born from adversity. Every great leader, every brilliant thinker, every warrior who changed the course of history, none of them lived lives of ease. They all suffered. They all struggled. But instead of breaking under pressure, they used it to make themselves stronger. Think about the greatest minds, innovators, and leaders. Did any of them get to where they are without hardship? Did they coast through life without setbacks, without rejection, without sacrifice? Of course not. The most successful people in history are not the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who were forged in fire. Abraham Lincoln faced multiple election losses before he became one of the most revered presidents in history. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before finally perfecting the light bulb. Nelson Mandela endured 27 years in prison before emerging as a symbol of resilience and unity. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team, but used that rejection as fuel to become the greatest basketball player of all time. These were not people who were given an easy path. They were not people who avoided struggle. They were people who embraced it, who leaned into it, who used it as fuel for transformation. So the question is, how do you see obstacles? Do you see them as barriers, or do you see them as stepping stones? Do you view failure as a dead end, or do you see it as a lesson guiding you to a better path? The answer to these questions will determine everything. Because the truth is, your obstacles are not stopping you. Your reaction to them is. The world teaches us to see obstacles as setbacks, but the Stoics believed the opposite. They saw every challenge as an opportunity in disguise, an invitation to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to adopt this mindset so that no matter what happens, you will always rise. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers and a Roman emperor, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Read that again. What stands in the way becomes the way. Not something to endure, not something to get past, but something to use. This idea is not just a philosophical concept. It is a complete redefinition of how we interact with adversity. It is a reversal of everything we are conditioned to believe. From obstacles are problems, that struggle is a sign of failure, that roadblocks mean something has gone wrong. But what if that's completely backwards? What if the struggle itself is the path? Imagine two people facing the same hardship. One sees it as an unfair burden, a cruel twist of fate, an excuse to stop trying. The other sees it as a lesson, a challenge, a refining fire that will make them stronger. The situation is the same. The difference is how they choose to see it. When you begin to see life this way, everything changes. You stop resenting the difficulties in your path and start looking at them as invitations to grow. You stop wishing for things to be easier and start working to make yourself stronger. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstance and start feeling like the architect of your own resilience. This is not just philosophy. This is a framework for how to approach every situation in life. Every single day we encounter obstacles, small ones, big ones, some that knock the wind out of us and others that barely register. What determines the impact they have on us is not the obstacle itself, but the meaning we assign to it. When something difficult happens, most people complain. They resist. They say, "Why me?" They see difficulty as unfair, as something that should not be happening. They fall into a victim mentality, believing that life is somehow out to get them. They wait for things to improve instead of adapting. They focus on what they cannot control instead of looking at what they can. But what if instead you trained yourself to ask a different question? How can I use this? What if instead of getting frustrated when things don't go as planned, you asked, what is this teaching me? Because the truth is, every setback carries a lesson, but only if you look for it. Think about a time in your life when things didn't go your way. Maybe you were rejected from a job you really wanted. Maybe someone you cared about left you. Maybe you failed at something you worked hard for. When it happened, you probably felt frustrated. Maybe you were angry. Maybe you thought, this isn't fair. But looking back now, can you see how it shaped you? Can you see how that setback forced you to adapt, to grow, to improve? Maybe that rejection saved you from a job that wasn't actually right for you. Maybe that breakup forced you to work on yourself in ways you never would have otherwise. Maybe that failure helped you realize what truly matters. Most people only recognize these lessons in hindsight. They look back and say, wow, that experience was painful, but I can see now that it was for the best. But what if you could learn to spot those lessons in real time? What if you could recognize, in the very moment of difficulty, that something valuable was happening? If you can learn to do that, you will be ahead of 99% of people, because everything in life is neutral until you give it meaning. There are no bad events. There is only our perception of them. A failure is just an event. A rejection is just a moment. A setback is just an occurrence. It is your mind that labels it as disastrous, unfair, or unbearable. But you can just as easily label it as a challenge, an opportunity, a turning point. When we face problems, our emotions take over. Fear, frustration, self-doubt. But emotions distort reality. They make obstacles appear larger than they are. They make setbacks feel permanent when they are only temporary. The Stoic approach is to step back and detach, to remove emotion from the equation and see the situation for what it actually is, not what our feelings are making it out to be. Ask yourself, what's within my control? Because there is always something. Most people do not realize that their difficulties are training them for something greater. They believe that life is supposed to be smooth, effortless, and easy. They assume that if they encounter resistance, something is wrong. But what if the resistance is the necessary friction that forces you to become the person you were meant to be? Imagine if every challenge you faced was designed specifically to make you stronger. What if life wasn't happening to you, but happening for you? What if the things that frustrate you, the things that test you, the things that feel unfair were actually sculpting you into someone more capable, more disciplined, more unshakable? If you saw every difficulty as preparation for something bigger, would you still resist it? If you knew that your setbacks were refining you into the person you need to become, wouldn't you welcome them? This is why the greatest figures in history embraced hardship. Theodore Roosevelt was a sickly, fragile child. Doctors told him he was too weak to live a normal life. Instead of accepting that as a limitation, He trained his body through hardship to become one of the most energetic and accomplished presidents in history. His perceived disadvantage became his greatest strength. Your struggles are your training ground. Your hardships are your teachers. Because most people freeze when things get hard, they wait for the perfect moment, the perfect feeling. They tell themselves that they will take action when they feel ready, when life is less stressful, when conditions improve. But that moment never comes. The Stoics knew the truth. Courage isn't about feeling ready. It's about acting despite fear. You will never feel ready. No one does. Read about any successful person and you will realize they started before they felt prepared. They launched the business before they had it all figured out. They took the leap before they had certainty. They moved forward when they were still afraid. That is what separates those who achieve great things from those who stay stuck. They refuse to wait for the perfect moment. They refuse to be paralyzed by fear. They take action even when it's uncomfortable. So ask yourself, are you waiting for things to get easier? Or are you willing to face the challenge in front of you and use it as fuel? Because one thing is certain, the obstacle is not in the way. The obstacle is the way. But how do you truly embrace this philosophy? How do you go beyond just understanding it and actually living it? Here are 5 powerful ways to apply the Stoic mindset to your life and how to execute them daily. 1. Build unshakable discipline. Discipline is not something you are born with. It is something you build. It is a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows through resistance. You don't wake up one day with an iron will. You forge it through deliberate effort, through the daily practice of doing what is difficult. The problem is that most people see discipline as a punishment, as something restrictive, something that limits their freedom. But in reality, discipline is the very thing that creates freedom. The freedom to be in control of your own life. The freedom to make choices from a place of power rather than weakness. The freedom to act according to your highest potential rather than your momentary desires. How to develop discipline. Wake up early, even when you don't feel like it. Train your body and mind to start the day with action, not hesitation. Exercise, even when it's the last thing you want to do. Pushing through discomfort strengthens your willpower. Read something challenging daily. Feed your mind, improve focus, and train yourself to value knowledge over distraction. Do one uncomfortable thing every day. Take a cold shower, say no to something that isn't serving you, or take a risk that scares you. Every time you push yourself through discomfort, you are strengthening the foundation of discipline that will carry you through life's hardest challenges. 2. Master emotional control. Most people let their emotions control them. They react impulsively, let fear dictate their decisions, and allow frustration to derail their progress. But emotions distort reality. When you are overwhelmed by anger, sadness, or fear, you are not thinking clearly. You are reacting. The Stoics believed that self-mastery begins with controlling your reactions. You cannot always control what happens, but you can always control how you respond. How to gain emotional control? Pause before reacting. When something frustrates or angers you, take a deep breath and step back before responding. Ask, is this within my control? If it is, take action. If it isn't, let it go. Do not waste energy on things you cannot change. Reframe problems logically. Instead of saying, this is unfair, ask, what can I learn from this? Detach from negative emotions. See them as passing clouds, not permanent storms. Acknowledge them, but do not let them dictate your actions. The ability to control your emotions will make you stronger than 99% of people. It will allow you to navigate life with clarity, purpose, and confidence, rather than being tossed around by every inconvenience or hardship. Step 3. Strengthen your resilience through voluntary hardship. Most people go through life avoiding difficulty. They take the easy route whenever possible, hoping to avoid pain. But in doing so, they rob themselves of the very thing that makes them strong. Resilience is not something you are gifted with. It is something you train yourself for. It is the ability to endure discomfort without crumbling. And like any skill, it must be developed through practice. The Stoics believed in voluntary hardship, intentionally making things difficult for yourself so that you are prepared for whatever life throws your way. How to train resilience. Take cold showers. Teach your body and mind to embrace discomfort. Fast for a day. Experience hunger without reacting emotionally, proving to yourself that you can handle discomfort. Challenge yourself physically. Train hard, push your limits, make your body stronger. Do something mentally uncomfortable. Speak in public, take on a hard challenge, or learn a skill that intimidates you. Every time you seek out hardship intentionally, you make yourself stronger. Then, when real adversity comes, you are already prepared. 4. Develop an anti-fragile mindset. Some people are fragile, they break under pressure. Some people are resilient. They endure pressure but do not grow from it. But some people are anti-fragile. They become stronger under pressure. This is the Stoic mindset. It is not about merely surviving hardships. It is about using them as fuel for transformation. Life will throw pain your way. You will face failure, betrayal, disappointment, and obstacles that seem insurmountable. You have two choices. Let them break you, or use them to build yourself into someone stronger than before. How to develop an anti-fragile mindset. Stop avoiding failure. Every setback is a lesson. Learn, adjust, and keep moving forward. When something bad happens, immediately ask, how can I use this? Surround yourself with people who challenge you. Comfort will make you weak. Seek those who push you to grow. Never complain. Complaints keep you stuck. Instead of saying, this is unfair, ask, how do I make this work for me? If you take this mindset seriously, no challenge will ever defeat you again. Most people freeze when things get hard. They hesitate, overthink, and convince themselves that now isn't the right time. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect feeling, the perfect set of circumstances before they act. But that moment never comes. The Stoics knew the truth. Courage isn't about feeling ready. It's about acting despite fear. Fear will always be there. Doubt will always creep in. Uncertainty will always exist. If you wait until you feel completely confident before taking action, you will stay stuck forever. The only way to conquer hesitation is to act before you feel ready. Think about every great accomplishment in history. Every leader, every innovator, every world changer. None of them started when conditions were perfect. They started when they had an idea, a vision, a desire to move forward, even if they didn't have all the answers. Successful people are not the ones who never feel fear or doubt. They are the ones who take action anyway. They do not wait for motivation. They do not wait for things to be easy. They move forward even when it's difficult. How many times have you had an idea, a goal, or an ambition, but never acted on it? How many times have you told yourself, I'll start tomorrow, only to repeat that same excuse the next day and the next? Every time you delay action, you are strengthening the habit of hesitation. You are reinforcing the mindset that it's okay to wait instead of act. Over time, hesitation becomes a reflex. You become someone who thinks about taking action but never actually does. Meanwhile, the people who start before they feel ready are building momentum. They may not be perfect at first, but they are learning, adjusting, improving, and with every action they take, they move closer to success. The difference between success and failure is not intelligence, talent, or luck. It is the willingness to take action when others hesitate. How to take relentless action? It does not exist. Conditions will never be ideal. You will never have complete certainty. You will never feel fully prepared. And that's okay. The biggest mistake you can make is waiting too long to start. Action builds confidence. Confidence does not come first. Every day you wait is a day wasted. Every time you say, I'll start when I'm ready, you are lying to yourself. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now. 2. Take small steps daily. The biggest reason people fail to take action is that they overwhelm themselves with the big picture. They think about the entire journey and it feels impossible. But success is built through small, consistent steps. If you want to get in shape, don't focus on losing 50 pounds. Just focus on going to the gym today. If you want to start a business, don't stress about making $1 million. Just launch something small and start learning. If you want to become a writer, don't worry about publishing a best-selling book. Just write 500 words a day. Every small step moves you forward. And once you build momentum, the process becomes easier. 3. Commit to consistency. The reason most people fail is not because they lack talent or intelligence, it's because they quit too soon. Most people take action for a few days, but when motivation fades, they stop. They tell themselves, "I'll get back to it when I feel inspired." But real progress doesn't come from bursts of motivation. It comes from consistent effort, day after day, even when you don't feel like it. The best athletes, the best entrepreneurs, the best artists, they don't rely on feeling motivated. They rely on habits and discipline. They wake up early even when they're tired. They go to the gym even when they don't feel like it. They work on their craft even when they're uninspired. If you only work when you feel like it, you will never achieve anything great. Success is a result of consistent action, not occasional effort. 4. Develop a bias for action. Most people are trained to default to hesitation. When faced with a decision, they wait, they analyze, they seek reassurance, they second-guess themselves. But the most successful people train themselves to default to action. Instead of saying, "I'll think about it," they say, "I'll start now and figure it out along the way." Instead of saying, "I need more time," they say, "I'll take the first step today." Hesitation breeds doubt. Action builds momentum. The faster you take action, the less time you give fear to stop you. One of the most powerful things you can do is start before you feel ready. Want to learn a skill? Sign up for a course today. Want to start a side hustle? Create the first version now, even if it's not perfect. Want to get healthier? Go for a walk right now, don't wait until tomorrow. Train yourself to act fast. The more you do this, the more it becomes your natural instinct. 5. Trust the process and keep going. Taking action is only the first step. The real challenge is sticking with it even when progress feels slow. Most people quit too soon because they expect instant results. They go to the gym for 2 weeks and see no change, so they give up. They start a business and don't make money immediately, so they stop trying. But success takes time. If you want to master something, you must be willing to stick with it for years, not days. The world is filled with people who gave up too early. People who could have been great if they had just kept going. Walt Disney was told he lacked creativity and faced multiple business failures before creating Disney Studios. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter became a worldwide phenomenon. Elon Musk failed multiple times before building Tesla and SpaceX into billion-dollar companies. They kept taking action despite setbacks, and that's why they succeeded. Your journey will not be smooth. You will face failure, rejection, and moments of doubt. But if you stay consistent, if you refuse to quit, if you keep showing up every single day, you will become unstoppable. Now you know the truth. Obstacles are not in the way. They are the way. Pain is not the enemy. It is the teacher. Discomfort is not to be avoided. It is to be embraced. The world belongs to those who use challenges as fuel. Most people will never understand this. They will keep waiting for life to get easier. They will keep running from struggle, hoping to find a path where success is handed to them without sacrifice. They will keep waiting for motivation, for perfect conditions, for a time when things feel right. But that time never comes. But not you. Because now you know the truth. The only way forward is through the discomfort, through the fear, through the struggle. So ask yourself, will you be fragile or will you be anti-fragile? Will you fear discomfort or will you use it to grow? Will you let obstacles stop you or will you turn them into stepping stones? The choice is yours. This is the Stoic mindset shift that will change your life. If this resonated with you, subscribe and let's keep sharpening the mind. At Stay Stoic, we dive deep into the timeless wisdom of Stoicism to help you navigate life's challenges with resilience, clarity, and strength. If you're tired of letting fear, doubt, and external circumstances dictate your life, it's time to take back control. This isn't just about philosophy. It's about real, actionable strategies to help you turn obstacles into opportunities, build an unshakable mindset, and become the strongest version of yourself. Our mission is to provide you with tools and insights that will not only help you overcome adversity, but also empower you to thrive in every aspect of life. Whether it's mastering self-discipline, strengthening your emotional control, or developing unbreakable mental toughness, we're here to guide you every step of the way. If you're serious about leveling up, if you're ready to stop waiting and start acting, then this is your place. Join a community of like-minded individuals committed to self-mastery, growth, and Stoic wisdom. Subscribe now and start your journey toward a more empowered, focused, and unstoppable life. Stay Stoic.